know someone, or are you personally battling a drug and alcohol addiction? Why are so many people addicted today? And why have so many people died as a direct result of this disease? If you've been affected by this problem and want answers like we do, then join us in our efforts to face this disease. Our purpose is to examine the truths, expose the lies, and uncover and provide resources to this affliction. Come, join us in this journey.
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
So I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message that made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.
Here at A&R TV. So we're down here at Sirens Salon on Melrose, and they're having their 15-year party anniversary. So we're going to meet the staff and stylists and just see a little bit of the story and absorb some of this amazing creative energy.
I was doing hair in Seattle and I wanted to relocate to a sunny location, and a friend of mine offered me this space, and it's amazing. There was nothing much here at this end of Melrose when I moved here, but now it's thriving. Let's go out back and listen to Thunder Lips, a local band.
It's a crime. Don't take the size of my pie. Money, so to say, is a beautiful people today. But if you ask for a rise, it's no surprise that they're giving none away. Away, away,
I tell you, it hasn't been all roses, that's for sure. First we went through the writer's strike, and then we went through the recession in 2009, but we just persevere, and I just keep showing up, and people want to get their hair done, and we're always on top of the latest trends, or actually ahead of the trends. So I'm not a quitter. That's how we stay in business. Oh my gosh.
What are you doing over here with
When
this?
I'm not coloring hair, I've taken up ice dyeing.
Wow, so you can come into the salon and purchase any of these. These are super
Everything's
creative.
one of a kind.
So ice dyeing, what does that mean? Do you use ice?
I literally use ice on the fabric. I choose my own colors.
Okay.
And because I know how to do hair color, I know what colors blend into other colors, and you get different splits of colors.
Fabulous. Look at that, guys.
I know,
It's so
isn't that
vibrant.
amazing?
We are Thunder Lips. I'm Delilah Campos. I play the guitar and I sing in the band. And I'm Violet Campos. I'm the bassist.
Amazing. How old are you guys?
I'm 15. I'm 12, but I'm turning 13 in a few months, so yeah.
Wow. And why did you guys start playing music?
I think it was just kind of like an interest for me at first, and then when I started, it became like a passion. Yeah, I agree. I'm really passionate about music. I love doing it. I do it a lot. I do it every day.
On A&R TV, we talk a lot about mental health and
Right.
feeling good and keeping your spirits up.
Right.
So especially with the last year, so how do you think your music and playing together has really benefited going through this?
Well, we weren't really allowed to see other people during COVID, so we really just had each other. So we were able to play together a lot, and it was just a way to connect since we both love it so much. Also not being able to leave our house and stuff, we had so much time to practice and get better. So. My life was empty, all watered down, until you took me, showed me around. My life is free now, my life is clear. I love you sweetly, though you can't hear. Oh yeah.
And to our viewers, anybody might be watching, like, how would you encourage them if they want to play music or, you know, just have something to be passionate about, like you guys are passionate about music?
Well, if it's music, I'd say practice every day and get good at least one instrument. Do you have anything to add? I mean, just for like anything, it could be art or music or dancing or anything, I would just say practice and, you know, just do it all the time. Yeah.
And no fear, right? Because you guys
yeah.
are ready to go at it.
Yeah. Take me downtown. I'm just looking for some time.
Hi, I'm Travis. Welcome to Siren Salon. This is a very free-loving salon. I am a hairstylist here. I love to do blondings, haircuts, shags, locks, you name it. I love to do it, love to have fun, and that's what the salon's all about, is having fun and enjoying and being yourself.
We're here at Siren Salon for our 15-year anniversary. My name is Atonic Sean. I've worked here for 2.5 years now. I specialize in color, but also in cuts. I love retexturing services. I'm trying to bring the perm back one head at a time. I love talking about perms. I love doing incredibly bespoke rolling. I don't do like traditional patterns for anyone. It's always like hands in, tailored to your head and your life. But my cuts and color are like that too.
Well, here I am at Siren Salon, and I got a little blowout from the lovely Kristen, so there you have it, guys.
I have a building down the street.
We have drinks over here.
This salon, Sirens. Kristen, Travis, Sean, they have saved my days when I used to come in and feel blue. They would always take me on. What do you need? What do you want? And they play with my bags, the color, and they always lifted my spirits.
Well, definitely you can look us up on Instagram at sirensalonla.com. And we're right off Melrose. It's a great shopping district, so you can come down here and shop. You can get your hair done. You can get some fun colors. We do normal hair, but we do a lot of funky colors too. And we have we'll work with any budget. Yeah.
Here at the Iao Valley in West Maui, Hawaii, this sacred site is overflowing with beauty and distant echoes of Hawaiian heritage, offering breathtaking views of lush forestry, streaming brooks, and towering peaks. One can't help but to be captivated by the spiritual influence of the waters and Polynesian experience. The multicultural legacy is commemorated here in the park, giving honor to the various cultures who came together working in the sugarcane industry. The Chinese, the Japanese, Korean, Filipino, and Portuguese, all working together in unison while purposing to maintain their own individuality. As I walk through the park, I see this same union taking place in nature, even in the trees. The intertwining and the growing together of the branches is quite remarkable. I look at this as the essence of the multicultural experience here in West Maui. The banyan tree, which is miles away on Front Street, displays this same type of integration. If you're in West Maui, Hawaii, be sure to check out the Iao Valley.
Why should I forgive others who have hurt me? So many times in life, things happen to us caused by others, such as when my house was burned down by an arsonist. I lost everything. As I stood among the rubble, realized there really wasn't anything left there that showed I was even on this planet. But as I dug through the rubble, for months before I would let them take it out, It's amazing what you find on the bottom. Some papers, some pictures. But the thieves were almost as bad as the fire. Coin collection, belt collection, gun collection. I felt sorry for the soul of the person. Someday when they saw what they did, they judged themselves and saw how they'd wasted time, that their joy was hurting someone else, doing what they could to hurt someone else. Whether they knew they were hurting, some really enjoyed doing it, but for whatever reason. Truly felt sorry for their soul. Then other things happen in life along the way where we're called upon to be forgiving. And as I remembered from my experience of having been on the other side, of no longer wanting justice, I wanted mercy. But I found that in order to receive mercy, I would have had to have given mercy, which meant someone had to do something wrong so I could forgive them. Now, several years later, after having someone come into my life I really trusted, believed in, wanted to help. She'd been homeless. Seemed really a great match for both of us. She did have a problem of drinking, but I didn't realize there were other things. Then later, when I discovered how she had stolen so many things that, because I couldn't see them well, I didn't even realize they were gone till I went to get them. And even my little dog, who hadn't been feeling well, and had to put her special dog food I had ordered for her away. 3 weeks later, after this person was gone, I reached for a little dog food to give her, thinking I would try and see if she wanted that one, and discovered of a special dog food that was ordered 20. She had taken 18. Lysol wipes. Power supplies. So many things. It hurt. But I realize if I want blessings from the Lord, I have to become more Christ-like with all that He suffered for us. And from the cross, He said, forgive them, they know not what they do. It is very difficult, but we have to be forgiving for our sakes. When we hold a grudge and we want the worst for someone, it's like taking poison ourselves and waiting for the other person to die. Being forgiving cleanses our soul and helps open powers of heaven to be with us. It's up to God to judge. But He says, whom we are to forgive is everyone. We are to be forgiving and loving, minor compared to what other people are suffering and going through in the world. So as we concentrate on asking for the Lord to come into our lives and for our sins to be forgiven, sincerely, we need to be forgiving for our sakes. Why should we forgive? For the sake of our own soul, and to receive the blessings that we need in order to make it through life. We leave all those things here when we need anyway. If anyone would have found a way to take everything with them, I would have done it. But since I couldn't get a U-Haul and take anything with me, which doesn't really matter when we're on the other side. Anyway, I started to say, if I can't do it, then no one can. Trying to be funny on a serious subject. As we believe, so shall we receive. As we give, so shall we receive. The day is filled with challenges and needing the Lord's help in all things. I need miracles today. We all need miracles. And the way to receive miracles is to believe in miracles, expect miracles, and be a miracle for someone else. And pray for the Lord's Spirit to be with us, our loved ones, and those around us, and for the person who's hurt us, to feel sorrow for their souls when they stand and see they're really doing this to themselves.
We just want to thank you for your continued support here at Addiction and Recovery TV, for tuning in to our broadcast each week. And we want to remind you that we would like to hear from you. And if you'd like to be a guest on our program, we'd love to hear your story. There are so many people today, more than ever, that are struggling in the area of mental health, addiction, and substance abuse. At Addiction and Recovery TV, not only do we want to talk about those issues, but we
we really want to make it a point to highlight the recovery aspect of all of these afflictions that we have encountered, because recovery is possible and people are recovering and healing, but it's all about plugging into those resources and having that initiative to move forward in that process.
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, like I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
So I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message that made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.
Have you ever felt like you're unsure of the future or think that your past is going to stick with you? Do you have feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, and maybe no one believes in you or you don't believe in yourself? Well, my name is Joe, and I'm here to tell you that if you check in with Addiction Recovery TV, we have plenty of stories of people like that, including myself. We ask that you tune in, contact us, and get to know stories of other people like yourself to give you some hope and some feedback and a new outlook on life and how to move forward, because it's possible.
Many people have been touched by addiction, either directly or indirectly. Join us as we educate and break the stigma associated with addiction. Together, we can start a revolution and bring the disease out of the darkness and into the light.
At Addiction and Recovery TV, we talk about raising awareness, and we also talk about the problems and situations revolving around addiction and recovery. And it's always important to remember that if you struggle in an area and you're looking for help or resources, there are plenty available. And sometimes it just takes picking up the phone and making one simple phone call that can make all the difference. So remember, we're always available and we're ready to help you in any way that we know possible, and definitely lead you in the right direction, because along the pathway of darkness there is a light of hope along those roads. So hopefully you will be open to see the light and walk in that direction. So if it's mental health, if it's addiction, even suicide, the help is always readily available. Just take that initiative to reach out and receive it.
Don't you want to know where you're going before you pull the trigger on that gun to your head? I'm about to tell you true stories. One day, I answered the suicide hotline, and I heard this woman's frantic voice say to me, "I know you helped stop suicide." My brother John called me, and he said he's so depressed, he has his finger on the trigger of his revolver, and when he pulls it, he's going to instant peace. She said, "I called the police. They're afraid to break down the door. He might pull the trigger." I said, "Quick, give me the phone number." I called it. Finally heard a man's voice say, "This is John. Goodbye to you and goodbye to the world. Bury me in peace." Believing he could hear me over the answering machine, I said, "Don't you want to know where you're going before you pull the trigger on that gun? What if it's worse for you after death than where you are now?" How do I know? I died. I went to the other side. I had horrific regrets. If suicide is a good idea, it will be a good idea next week. Please hear my story first. Death is not the answer. What I said caught John's interest. He picked up the phone and said, "I'll give you 1 week. If I don't agree with what you say, I'm finishing the job." He put the gun down, opened the door for the police. They took him to the mental hospital. I'll get back to you about John. What I want to talk to you now about is suicide prevention. If you know someone who's really feeling depressed or suicidal, raise your hand. Surprising, isn't it? Even though only God can judge accountability, Many suicides are done for really small reasons. As an example, Robert, a 17-year-old outstanding high school student, committed suicide. Why? His parents were devastated when they read his note. It said he couldn't face them because he had a B on his report card. He was no longer a straight-A student. Suicide rates are skyrocketing. Back to John. While he was in the mental hospital, he heard my true life after life story. And he changed his mind about wanting to die. And he started a suicide prevention group right there in the hospital. Soon he was released. He went on to college, earned his psychology degree, and continued his life-saving work. What did I say to John that helped him so he changed his mind, decided he wanted to live? I told him about my childhood, which was very tragic. And then when I was 8 years old, I went to a funeral and I heard how nice heaven is. Hey, I'm very practical. Why stay in this world with all of its problems if I could just die and go to that place of peace? From then on, I was suicidal. After a terrible auto accident in 1960 and 8 failed back surgeries, I attempted suicide twice. Then in 1980, my father committed suicide. This reinforced my belief that I wanted to die. In 1983, after having been severely ill for over a year, having repeated pneumonia, bedridden, allergic to the antibiotics, the doctor told me there was nothing more they could do for me and I was going to be dying. Wow, when I heard that, I was more thrilled than you would have been if you had winning tickets to the lottery. I wasn't going to have to kill myself. I was just going to die and go to that place of peace. My condition worsened. I woke up one day barely conscious. And then all of a sudden, I was up and looking down at my body. It was shocking. I had a life review. I saw how I'd given up. I didn't learn and make it through problems by giving up. I just wasted my valuable earth time. I also saw that when someone dies and it's their time to die, they go home to a grand celebration. It was agonizing regrets for me. I pleaded, please let me have another chance to live. I promised to tell everyone who would listen how valuable earth time is. Then I saw this gold-crowned tooth. I knew that my tooth had something to do with my being so ill and dying. Then I was back in my body. I wasn't that wispy thing anymore. I could feel my face. The next day, I had my mom take me to the dentist. I insisted he pull that tooth, even though it didn't hurt and nothing showed on the x-rays. After it was out, the surprised dentist told me and showed me the blackened roots with melted infection up in my sinuses. I began feeling better immediately, and within 3 weeks I felt like a new person. One of the things I discovered while I was on the other side, we all began dying the day we were born, and none of us know how much time we have left on earth. I also learned life is too short to be angry, to hold grudges, and the importance of being loving, kind, forgiving, merciful, even on the freeways. Look around you. There are many hurting people who could use a kind word, a good deed. And remember those people you thought of when you were thinking who was suicidal? Maybe you can help prevent suicide. Share my story. Share the message of what if it's worse for you after death than it is now. Suicide is not the answer. Life is worth living and loving, even with all of its challenges.
Are you addicted to drugs? Narcotics Anonymous can help. If you are interested in Narcotics Anonymous and cannot make it to a physical meeting, or are wanting to experience the Fellowship of Recovering Addicts online, visit virtual-na.org to learn more about online meetings and meetings over the phone.
Charlene DeChico here with Addiction and Recovery TV.
We're looking forward to another great season here at Addiction and Recovery TV. Thank you for tuning in and supporting us in our efforts. This season on Addiction and Recovery TV, we'd like to highlight some spiritual aspects of dealing with mental health. Hopefully this season we will provide inspiration and hope for any and all those that are watching our broadcast. Looking at this Danube River architecture and the water line is absolutely remarkable. But when I think about what the Jews endured here in World War II, it's absolutely startling. Let's take a closer look down at the shoes on the Danube River. Standing here, taking a moment of reflection, thinking about the horrors that the Jews endured here during World War II. In some bitter winter months, the story's been told of how many were lined along these riverbanks, many who were shot naked, falling into the hands of the cold river on a winter's day or maybe even evening here in Budapest. This is the story that's told here, lying right here along the riverside. Although it is a tragic story told along this river line, we've come to see a people who, in spite of this terrible events that happen here along the Danube River, we have seen overcome and persevere, not only in these parts of Budapest, but in other parts of Europe. If the soul could be broken, wouldn't it be here? And if the spirit could be destroyed, couldn't it be here? But that is not the case. There is a story of inspiration that comes from the depths of these rivers.
When you've tried everything else.
There was a time as a mother that I felt as though my daughter wasn't going to survive this.
When I got here, I was on the brink of death. They helped carry me when I didn't believe in myself. And I can honestly say it's the happiest I've been in years.
Enlightened Solutions has given me my daughter back, and for that, I'm very grateful.
Enlightened Solutions. Recover successfully.